Welcome back to the SMT Media Network. In today's video, we get personal. I'm going to let you guys into my personal views on specific players. If there's players you guys want me to do videos like this on, go ahead and drop me those in the comments. I'm going to start this one with probably the most modern and relevant player that I have as one of my favorites of all time. This is a personal video. This is my personal outlook or perspective on a player. LeBron James is one of my favorite players of all time. What this man has been able to do in his long, storied career. Right, this guy is about to play his 23rd NBA season, coming into the league as an 18-year-old high school phenom. He clearly showed an incredible potential from the very moment he stepped on an NBA court. And over time, he just got better and better. And over time, he found personal achievement and then team achievement. His story is not ununique. Like, this is the trajectory for a lot of great players. The beginning, the middle, the end. There's segments to careers. And his story is pretty amazing. He was a player that had a lot of expectations. A lot of people coined him as the next Michael, and those kind of things. Those are lofty expectations. But LeBron did amazing things in his career. And he not only has team success, he not only has personal success, but he has these great moments during his career. And this is what really creates these, when you hear people talk about GOATs and you hear people talk about the greatest of all time, there's always these moments that stick out for people. LeBron has those moments. So he was, and he's statistically dominant over his career, won several championships, found team success, and had amazing moments throughout his career across all different levels. Regular season moments, playoff moments, finals moments. He has it all. So he is one of my favorite players of all time. I don't much like or appreciate some of the commentary from his podcast or the things that he says publicly on hot mics. Some of the things that he said in his career in post-game and post-series conferences, they obviously, I don't want to say they're blemishes. A lot of people will overlook them, and some people don't even acknowledge them, like some of those things weren't said. But he said them, and a lot of people throw venom his way. He's a target for a lot of criticism. I think Michael Jordan fans, like fandom, like the fanatics, right? They hate him. They don't like him. A lot of people see the narratives that, like LeBron and his camp push to try to stake claim as the GOAT. I think a lot of people push back on that too. But that doesn't impact my perception of him as a player. When I watch LeBron James play basketball in his peak, and I'm talking about from his physical peak to then even his skill peak, he was one of the most incredible players I've ever seen play. And I've been watching the NBA for a long time, for several decades. His passing ability is unquestionable. Some of the most amazing plays, from vision to the delivery of the passes. A lot of players can't make those passes that he makes. Part of it is what he can see on the floor. Part of it is just the physical ability to get the ball to those locations in those circumstances, angles and vision. It's amazing. He's not perfect. He's been a turnover-prone player his entire career. But I still can acknowledge his greatness. As a scorer, as prolific as they come, he's the NBA all-time leading scoring record holder for most points. His high average throughout the duration of his career, the evolution of his offensive game, watching him become a better shooter, a much more reliable shooter over the years, becoming a smarter shooter, like how to get to spots, where to take the shots. The finish and the touch improved over time. Developing a fadeaway, his footwork improving. Not great footwork, but good enough. And he's a larger player. He's built like a power forward, right? So we understand the physiology things about this, right? He's not a point guard or a shooting guard. He really is a forward through and through. But some of the athleticism that was displayed in transition, freight train, unstoppable force in transition. I mean, you guys remember the Miami years. Who was stopping that? Nobody. He was jumping over grown men, right? He was amazing on the fast break. Nobody could stop that. Him and D. Wade and those guys. So offensively, the repertoire that he developed over time, and you can question the free throw shooting. It was never great. It got a little better Looking at his handles, I think his handles is probably one of his weaker characteristics or skills as a player. I always kind of, as a guard myself, when I played hoops, and when I play hoops, you just look at the fundamentals of dribbling. Ball should be close, ball should be low. I think he's a little lazy sometimes, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how critical we want to get in this video. But his handle has always been good enough. He dribbled the ball off his foot plenty of times, and he's been lazy plenty of times. So you guys can go ahead and critique that if you want. Again, there's a lot of people who watch content on my channel that view LeBron in a negative fashion, but this video isn't about that. His at a point in his career, he was all NBA defense, and there was a year where people claimed that he should have been Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not here to argue whether he should or shouldn't be, but he was an elite defender for an extended amount of time, right? Maybe it was a 5 or 6 or 7 year window. Maybe it was an 8 or 9 year window. And there have been several years, I would say most recently the LA Lakers, and I would say the second stint in Cleveland, it was situational defense. He wasn't always playing it in all the games, right? Preserving himself, conserving energy, and those kind of things. But he is an amazing player. We're going to go back and watch old footage once he retires, and we're going to see what this guy was able to achieve. He did play the game at the highest level for a very, very long time. He has a unique place in the pantheon of greats. He's one of the best players I've ever seen play the game. And for a guy who had such an unreliable shot for so long, he still found success and achievement, which is a testament to his will to try to win. And again, there's going to be people in the comments who are going to say, he cheated the game. He didn't want to compete. He went to Miami. He wanted to win. I'm not going to downplay it. You can have at the nuances of picking your teammates and trying to set yourself up and stack the deck. To me, I view it as he just wanted to win so badly, and he wanted to play with good players to put him in a position to beat the best teams in the league. That's just my objective view on it. His place within the pantheon greats of all time, he's going to be in the conversation of the best players ever. It doesn't really matter where you place him, in my opinion. I don't really care about who's the GOAT and who. Some of those conversations devolve and turn into some of the most unproductive conversations. But when it comes to all the levels of the game, defensively, there was a time where he was elite and very good. He never was able to guard all 5 positions, but he always was able to guard his position, right? For the most important parts of his career where he built his legacy. He was a great scorer. He was a great passer. I'm not going to look at the LA Lakers years and say, I got to see that now at 40. That's just not what this is about. I want to celebrate LeBron because I think people get the impression when I make videos about the things he says, it is not what I think about him as a player. LeBron is one of the most unique and special talents we've ever seen in the league history. And I'm not going to let the things he says on his podcast, the thing he says about his teammates, and not having enough help and all those things, I'm not going to let that change my perspective on how he played the game. He was an amazing player, and some people still find a lot of value in the fact that he's 40 and can still score. I don't really want to do that. I think his legacy was built on what he did in his prime and his peak and his ability to compete against the best players. I don't think he can do that anymore, so I'm not evaluating this part of his career as what goes into his legacy. If anything, the fact that he keeps playing into the later years just gives people the perception that, he's not good, right? Or being less good and ineffective. But guys, I'm telling you, I have enjoyed the NBA for several decades and seen some amazing players. LeBron is definitely, by leaps and bounds, one of the best players I've ever seen play. I watched him play in person. I watched all of his games, big-time games. The regular season when he was in Cleveland, I watched every dribble, every pass, every shot. And as a fan from afar and a fan who was invested in the teams he played for, in those finals runs, playoffs runs, it's been amazing to watch his career. I don't much care for how he gets in front of microphones. I don't think he's that articulate and well spoken or well thought of when he kind of does these things. But man, I respect the game. He's had an impressive career, and he's one of the best to ever do it. And I don't really think it's an argument.